come back to the media and bloggers, the media in general, accredited, unaccredited, if you like. What do you make of them today? I think they're more opinion management, as we just discussed here with the Jersey Evening Post, you know, about the Lime Grove, for instance. Are they more in the business of informing people of the facts, the mainstream media, or are they more in the business of opinion management? Or do you think there's another way of describing it?
Well, I don't know whether it's that they're overworked and haven't time to put in the research. I remember there was some very good research put in by one of the JEP reporters over the various press conferences in the Moyano case. That was very good. But I must say, over the last 3 years, the average blog, I'm not talking about the fairly extreme ones, but your average blog which is trying to get facts out into the public arena has actually been doing a better job than many of the mainstream newspapers. I notice this particularly, yes, we have it in Jersey, and I notice it also in the UK, where, you know, you're not getting the correct story out into the public. And in fact, our own local radio, I think, makes a better fist of it, a much better effort than the mainstream BBC in the UK. The mainstream BBC in the UK is known as the sort of audio version of one of the Guardian, I think it is, because they have a line and they follow it, and they ignore any alternative points of view, and they're not doing their investigative homework. And this
do you think the local BBC are?
I think they're doing it more than the mainstream in the UK.
But it's not a particularly high benchmark.
Not really, no. But I think that, you know, there used to be very much more investigative journalism, and I think you're probably getting to that point with the blogging media, I suppose, because partly a blog is accessible to anybody with a computer, and anybody with a computer who knows a bit about it will add a comment. So you get a much wider variety of information coming in.
Why do you think it is we've got now everybody knows that my theory is the mainstream media in Jersey are part of the establishment and they're covering up for the establishment. That's my opinion. I'm quite sure you don't agree with that side of it. Would it be fair to say, at the very least, not just the local media, but the mainstream media in general are just cut and paste? It's just cut. There's no investigative stuff. They just cut and paste, and some people win awards for it actually. But would you agree with me that mainstream media in general has become nothing more than cut and paste journalism?
Well, again, perhaps it's because they haven't got enough reporters, or they're not encouraging them to be investigative. To be fair, about a month, 6 weeks ago, they did an editorial in the JEP which was actually supporting one of the propositions I've been bringing recently, and it was absolutely on the mark. I have been concerned recently because ministers have been changing decisions which have been made by the states without bringing the changes back to the states for approval. And so, you know, I've been sort of hammering on about this, and in actual fact the editorial in the JEP absolutely supported what I was trying to do, and that was certainly not pro-establishment. So, you know, it comes and goes, I think. Well, you know, I do notice that if I put in a press release with a comment at the end, then it's usually cut and paste from the press release.
Yeah.
So they'll no doubt never read my press releases ever again.
So it looks like your opinion on blogs and bloggers, certain blogs and bloggers, has changed. That there are some that are doing a good investigative job and reporting the facts and the evidence. Whereas the mainstream media, I'm not sure if you agree, are just putting out little sound bites, as we know with the Lime Grove thing, and getting the public to form an opinion on a few words.
Well, I think provided the bloggers stick to the fact and not rumour and innuendo, then I think, you know, they will find their readership, if you can call it that, expanding. And the blogs that I find that are really respected are the ones which actually keep to the facts, and really the opinions come out in the comments.
Yeah.
And I think provided you can do that and not go off into 95,000 words of rant, then I think you're on a winner.
Yeah, I really. So you do you see blogs in Jersey becoming more influential?
Well, I think they must do, because it's another form of dissemination of information. And if people have an alternative source to get another point of view or another set of facts, then people will read it and then balance the facts for themselves, because the general public isn't stupid. The general public can generally weigh up the facts and decide which actually sounds more plausible, more realistic.
So do you think that there would be as much need for blogs if we did have investigative journalism in the mainstream media? We clearly haven't got investigative journalism in the mainstream media. We've got sound bites, cut and paste, in my opinion. Do you think if we had more investigative journalism in the media, that there'd be less need for blogs like mine?
No, I don't think they're going to put you out of a job. Where would we be without you at scrutiny hearings? No, I think there's a place for all forms of the media. I think the blogs are very instant, you know, and you can clock onto them at midnight or whenever you're reading that particular area of the media. You can have an instant reaction and put in your comments. I don't think so. I think once a new form of media comes out, unless it's, I don't know, unless it's abused, I think it has a future. And certainly, because it's the big thing about the sort of blogosphere is that it's not censored. And as you say, it isn't just one point of view, because obviously the mainstream media has a point of view.
Mm-hmm.
And
although they
bloggers, no, they must, you know, there is an editorial sort of view. Mm. And the other big thing, of course, is that blogs are worldwide. Mm. And I think any measure, any move to censor them would be a retrograde step. Certainly the blogs that spend their time vilifying people and sort of slagging them off aren't the ones that are succeeding. The ones that are succeeding are the ones that are factual and balanced.
And keep away from the personality, keep away from the blogs that keep away from the insults.
Yes, gratuitous insults have no place in blogging. They just detract from the value of the blogs, so you might as well stay well away from that.
So are you, I think from our interview today, I think you've warmed towards blogs?
Well, I think the last sort of denouement about blogs was about 3 years ago, wasn't it, when there was a big discussion as to whether you were accredited media or not. Yeah. And yes, over the last 3 years, you've mellowed, your blog's improved.
Thank you.
It's not quite such an angry young man. It's a more mature young man. And now I think as the blogs mature, then they are a valuable source of information for people.
Senator, thanks for your time.
You're welcome.